So this is more principles that we're getting with now. So the two-party, or the American two-party system, is an illusion of choice, often framed as left or right, good and evil, liberal and conservative. It creates a false dilemma of morality, which causes people to choose a side based on the lesser of two evils. The lesser of two evils is still evil. And I want to take a quote from a book called Jesus, or How to Argue Like Jesus, right? And this is called The False Dilemma Avoidance, Thinking Outside the Box. But I've put something here for you. It's a picture of Trump holding up LGBTs for Trump. I think this was just before he got elected, when he was on the campaign trail. Obviously, he's a Republican. And then you see Democrat Obama. Gay donors fuel Obama's 2012 bid. And there's a lot of black people upset with Obama because they say he did more for gays than he did for black people.
Yep.
And in some ways, they could be justified in saying that. But anyway, most major political leaders bow at the altar of LGBT. Very few have avoided this mark of the beast. The few who have avoided it actually are in the East, because you see a lot of African countries who are not playing that. Even Putin saying, like, I ain't playing with this stuff. No, not to the extent Putin's gone. I haven't looked up and detailed that, but I know Obama went to Uganda and a few other African countries to try and convince them to change some of their laws about homosexuals. And they were like, no, sir, come out of here with that. So anyway, back to the false dilemma, right? So this two-party system in America, I feel, has got a lot of Christians in a dilemma they actually shouldn't be in, which is, I've got to choose between left and right. And this false dilemma was actually something Jesus dealt with. So listen to this. Not all logical principles involve the creation of proper arguments. Some involve the ability to spot and counter fallacious arguments. One of the most common logical fallacies that Jesus encountered is the false dilemma. The logical fallacy or false dilemma involves a situation in which two alternative points of view are held to be the only options, when in reality there exist one or more other options that have not been considered. Jesus used this form of reasoning when the religious authorities would try to trap him into accepting statements with which he did not agree. Although Jesus often debated with the scribes and Pharisees, there are only two recorded examples of his speaking with the members of the ruling elite, the Sadducees, though one is recorded in all three of the Synoptic Gospels, in Matthew and Mark and Luke. The other occasion is seen in Matthew 16:1-4. The Sadducees were theological and religious conservatives who did not recognize the rest of the Hebrew canon beyond the Torah. In a ploy to trap Jesus, the Sadducees attempted to show that his prophecy of a future resurrection meant he denied the Torah. And it says, and the Sadducees came to him, who say that there is no resurrection. And they asked him a question saying, Teacher, Moses wrote for us that if a man's brother dies and leaves a wife, but leaves no child, the man must take the widow and raise up offspring for his brother. There were 7 brothers. The first took a wife, and then when he died, left no offspring. And the second took her and died, leaving no offspring. And the third likewise. And the 7 left no offspring. Last of all, the woman who also died. In the resurrection, when they rise, whose wife shall she be? For the 7 had her as a wife. As philosopher Jeremy Pierce illustrates, the reasoning of the Sadducees takes the following form. If we believe the Torah's teaching on Levirate marriage, then we have to deny the doctrine of the resurrection. The Torah's teaching on Levirate marriage is unquestionable. That was 1 and 2. Number 3 is, therefore the doctrine of the resurrection must be wrong. Jesus' response shows that the Sadducees were offering a false dilemma. Jesus responded by saying, is this not the reason you are wrong? Because you know neither the scriptures nor the power of God. For when they rise from the dead, they neither marry nor are given in marriage, but are like angels in heaven. Whereas the Sadducees present two mutually exclusive options, accept the Torah's teaching and deny the resurrection, or accept the resurrection but deny the Torah, Jesus offers a third explanation. Marriage is an institution that won't exist in the post-resurrection world. This response would have still been rejected by the Sadducees, but it showed that Jesus was neither rejecting the authority of the Torah nor committing a logical fallacy. Knowing how to spot and avoid false dilemmas is essential for anyone interested in effective argumentation and debate. False dilemmas are common in politics, office interactions, and family and church life. In politics, you may hear a statement like, either we raise taxes or we will have to stop medical care for the elderly, when in reality, there may be a number of ways to sustain that care, even in a lower tax environment. At church, you may hear someone say, either you believe in Bible inerrancy or you are not Christian, when there are obviously a number of well-meaning Christians who believe certain portions of the Bible to be in error. At home, you may hear your daughter complain, if you don't buy me a car, you don't love me, when in reality, there are a number of good alternative explanations for why you might not buy your teenager a new Honda. So we see the principle here of the false dilemma. And my whole point in this is saying to you that the two-party American system has caused Christians to get caught up in this false dilemma, right? So if you believe that the Republicans are right, then you have to hate the every policy kind of the Democrats. But the fact is, as Christians, there's policies on both sides that we would agree with. It's policies that come straight from the conservatives and straight from the liberals that we would actually agree with. So we would agree that, you know, there shouldn't be gay marriage, but we would also agree that gay people have the right to do what they want to do because we all have free will. So it's very interesting that they get caught in this false dilemma and they think they have to pick a Republican Party who stands for some biblical truths, but don't stand for others, or they have to pick between a Democratic Party who also in some regards will stand for some biblical truth and not for others, and they have to choose. They don't have to choose between both. They can actually just choose holiness. They can actually just choose the Bible. You don't have to actually vote for either. Now, am I advocating not voting? Maybe I am. There's actually other parties in America as well. But the two-party system, because of the way they've set up the electoral voting system, this two-party system has caused people to feel like if you don't like Trump, then you must automatically love Biden. That's not the truth. You can think they're both trash. You can think both parties are trash. And you don't have to vote for either. Marlon.
Yeah, I hear what you're saying. I'm gonna be very cheeky.
Please. It's Monday Night Raw.
And pick you on something. Where you said you could either vote Republican or Democrat, or you could vote for holiness. You said or holiness.
Yeah.
You could vote Democrat and vote for holiness. In my opinion.
Impossible. Here's why.
One sec. Are you saying that it is impossible for a Christian to vote for the Democrats in a general election and be holy?
I didn't question their personal holiness. I'm saying the Democratic Party cannot claim to be holy. So if you vote for them, you haven't voted for holiness. You might have voted...
I see what you're saying. No, I see what you're saying.
Right.
Okay. I thought you were saying that you can't vote for them and choose to live a holy life, be a holy person.
No.
I thought you were trying to say they were mutually exclusive.
No. Well, I would say you're mistaken to vote for either side, and but that's my personal opinion. But I'm not going to then say now you're going to go to hell. I'm old school, but I'm not that old school.
Yeah.
I let Jesus decide where you're going. But yeah. So that's, I'm not saying that you personally now have become the devil because you voted for either side.
No.
But then but based on what's happening now, I mean, I wouldn't vote for either. But if you are voting for the Liberals, boy, I think that's the mark of the beast right there. But then for me, if you're voting for Republicans, that's the mark too. So, you know, because neither party are trying to dismantle this LGBT system that is kind of, so marks everywhere. But, you know.
Yeah, agreed. I agree there. I definitely agree.